You oftentimes would be too smart for your own good. So if you remember, when you needed money, you'd pick the phone up and call the Pride office yourself. And you went back and tried to renegotiate your contract after myself and Michael Braverman and Barry Bloom had done a pretty nice deal on what your agreement was. So Pride did not give in, so you decided you would hold them up for a little bit and not fulfill your side of the deal for a couple of months, and they stopped paying you. So they were able, at a K1 show in Vegas, everybody from UFC was there, everybody from K1. It was like the who's who of the MMA and fighting world at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a hell of a trip out to Olympic Garden Strip Club later that night with Shamrock and Tank and Bob Bruton and everybody else. That's a whole another story. But we were able to get the Pride guys, if you remember them, of course, Yukino and Sakakibara.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Kawasaki and Kawasaki, right? We were able to get them to agree to meet with us up in their suite because we had thought we'd got stuff solved, and they were going to pay off the 2 months they were late paying you on. So Michael Braver and I went up to the suite. Sakakibara poured us some very nice scotch. 2 guys walked around the sofa, got behind us. I swear to God, man, I am not making this up. There were little fingers missing on both guys. And Michael Braverman turned to me and said, "You realize that Mark Kerr just got us killed, right?" And I said, Michael, I think you're being a little dramatic, man. Well, in any case, he popped open a big briefcase, counted out your pay, and I remember one of the few arguments I remember having with you was we went down to tell you it was all solved. You wanted me to hand you all the money in cash, and I didn't do that, which probably was good. Anyways, it was, man, you were a fun one to deal with back in the day. That's for sure. But
dude, it's funny because there was Mr. Zizaka, who was the owner behind the scenes of Dream Stage.
Yep.
I would joke with people. I go, he never opened his own door. He never cooked his own food, like with Korean barbecue. Never cooked his own food. Never poured his own beer, and he hung out with a lot of guys with missing fingers.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I didn't understand that. Like I've done this before. Like I've gone out to strip clubs in Japan with Mr. Zizaka and partied, hung out. He's bought lap dances. He's bought Dom Perignon, all of this, right? And that's one aspect of dealing with him. But when it comes to business, it's completely different. Like I didn't understand it at first that you can party with the dudes, but if you're sitting down talking a contract, it's a completely different person you're dealing with.
Oh,
completely different.
Absolutely. I've always said, man, and I know you know this because you travel the world. You were the top guy in Brazil. You're the top guy in Abu Dhabi. I've always in the fighting business and the wrestling business, it tends to attract how shall we say it, mobsters, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And I've always said, man, they're some of the greatest people in the world to hang out with. Just don't mess with their business. Otherwise,
God, man.
Then you're good.
It literally, Rick, it was probably one of the harder lessons to learn because dealing with different cultures, they have a completely different way of understanding, of business. And it was one where, like the night before, like I refused in Japan, I refused to take payment for something. And basically, it was Mr. Zaka looking at me, and a week before that, we had partied, hung out, had drinks, had lap dances together, and he basically looked at me and he's like, if you don't take the money, you're never going to work in Japan again.
Well, that's insulting.
And literally,
you didn't know that.
Yes.
Right? Yep.
Yes. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like, it's like going on a pro wrestling tour there with a group full of 300-pound guys. If you don't let the 90-pound female clerk carry your 100-pound suitcase, you're insulting her. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a different culture, for sure.
It's crazy. It's crazy because it took a lot. Unfortunately, you know what the other part about Japan, which was amazing? Like, you didn't know you broke some rules until you broke the rule. Like, they have so many implied rules there about culture and about business and about everything. So, like, you don't know you broke it until, like, oh, shit, dude, you shouldn't have did that. Like, I went up and Mr. Ishii, who's K1, who you know, like, I went up and I went up and complained to him about something, and I didn't understand that it should have started with, like, 8 guys below him. Like, before he ever heard anything out of my mouth, the lowest guy on the totem pole was directly correlated with me. He had to get it resolved. If he couldn't get it resolved, he talked to his boss. If his boss couldn't get it resolved, he talked to his boss, and so on and so forth. Like, me to go to Mr. Ishii and complain about something was like, dude, you're like, no, you don't do that.
Yeah,
so shit like that,
lessons learned in the travels, huh?